Hey guys. All right, I think I'm live. Yes, I am. Please let me know if you can hear me. I have a microphone that is hooked up here, and I just want to make sure that it's working and that you guys can see me okay. How are you guys? I am doing a lot better today. I feel like every day that goes by with this whole coronavirus thing, I feel like I'm calibrating a little bit more and figuring out some strategies to cope with it a little bit better. And so I'm feeling positive today and I'm excited about some of the stuff that I'm going to share with you. Basically, what happened to me is I've been reading a lot of articles lately about, as I'm sure you probably are, about what is going to happen and just kind of what people are expecting. And just to make a long story short, basically what I have discovered is that seems like we're in it for the long haul with this thing. And all the articles that I've read, I actually just want to pull something up here on my computer really quick. Um, but basically, until we have a vaccine for this, or until we have zero cases for an extended period of time, and that could be by means of lockdown or just some of this social distancing keeping happening, or suppression, whatever they are calling it today. As soon as either of those things happen, it's likely that a lot of things aren't going to change and that we're going to be in this situation for a while. And even if things get better for a while and they kind of relinquish some of these restrictions on us, unless it's zero or unless we have a vaccine, it's just going to keep coming back. So that I don't say that to be fatalistic and just be like, oh my gosh, we're going to be in this forever. But the reason that I wanted to share that with you is because it seems to me like um, our best bet moving forward is to start asking ourselves the question, how can we adjust to this new normal? And how can we still get all of our basic needs met? According to Tony Robbins, we have 6 basic human needs, which I'll talk about here shortly. And so I just want to kind of help give you guys ways to cope with this. And I don't know if you're like me, but I feel like I've been living in an alternate reality for, really the last week. I feel like before that, it was still really uncertain about what was going to happen. I mean, it still is. But I think for the last week, we've all kind of started realizing the severity of what's going on in our world. And so, at least for me, I feel like I've been living kind of in this fog. I'm not really sure what to do, or normal life is really interrupted. I've been staying at home. I am self quarantining myself for 2 weeks because of some sick people that I was in contact with who didn't necessarily have the coronavirus, but I was around some coughing people and I just figured better safe than sorry. Anyway, so I feel like this morning I woke up and I kind of started coming out of a fog. And as I'm realizing all these statistics that are coming in and realizing that this whole reality that we're in now is going to probably last for, the foreseeable future, I started thinking about different ways that I could kind of get control back and go, okay, I feel like I've been a victim of just this whole whirlwind happening around me for the last week. And now it's time to get my equilibrium back and start changing some things in my life to adjust for this. Because if we expect that life's just going to go back to normal or we put everything on hold until it does, I think we're going to be waiting a while. So I think the best bet is to really start changing some stuff and really making the most of the situation that we're in now. Hi, Nadia. Stay safe. You stay safe too. I hope everybody's staying safe. I hope everybody is staying at home. Every article, I'm sure, again, that you guys are reading and that I'm reading is saying that the best thing that we can possibly do is to socially distance ourselves, to stay safe. And I know that's really hard and it seems almost silly sometimes, I think, when this isn't affecting you personally. The first person that Sean and I know personally got the coronavirus. We weren't in contact with him or anything, but it was interesting because until that moment, it had really been this kind of like far-fetched thing that was happening to other people. And now that we actually now know 3 people who are personally affected by this, it's weird. It's becomes more real. And so I just want to jump right into it. Again, please feel free to comment on the little sidebar there, or if you're watching this after the fact, comment below on this video, because I really want to hear your thoughts, your questions, your opinions on all of this. Okay, so the first thing that I was thinking about in all of this is, according to Tony Robbins, like I said earlier, every human on the planet has 6 basic needs. And when we have a big interrupt like this, by the way, sorry if you guys hear, there's a lawnmower going outside. At least they're still going on with life. But hopefully it doesn't bother the sound too much. Anyways, we all have these 6 basic human needs that we need to be met, or else things kind of start getting out of balance in our lives. And that's where problems start happening. So, just to go over them really quick, the 6 basic human needs are a need for certainty, a need for uncertainty or variety, a need for connection and love, a need for significance, a need for growth, and a need for contribution. So I was thinking about, and normal life, when you're going out and about and you're doing your normal routine, you're getting a lot of these needs met simply by living life. So like you're getting your variety need met by leaving the house and maybe going out for dinner or meeting up with friends here and there, and you're getting your need for significance through going to work and contributing to your work and adding value. And I think when we are now stuck at home, it is easy to feel like a lot of these are starting to drop off. So I just want to go through them one by one and offer some advice for how I think that we can keep these needs met. Okay, so the first one is certainty. And this is just the need to feel really at its core safe and feel like you know what's going on. You feel like you have a good handle on everything. And I think this is one that's specifically very volatile right now because a lot of us are extremely uncertain. So, how can we get this need for certainty met in this time? I'd love to hear your opinions, but the way I see it, I think that it's kind of comes down to controlling our schedules and what we're doing with our lives. I also think things like meditation, things like, let's see, what was I going to say? I can't, I'm just totally blanked out on the certainty. Oh, not consuming a ton of media. I think that contributes to the uncertainty part of this because new information is constantly coming out and it can feel really overwhelming and like, oh my gosh, I thought I was feeling good about everything, but now I'm uncertain because this new piece of information came out, you know? So I think limiting our consumption of that and social media while at the same time just controlling what we can control, especially in our own households, um, like going to sleep and waking up at the same time every day, keeping your routine, keeping your schedule, I think can be really, really helpful. So for me, I am going to go through my entire work week and life week, and I am going to totally reformulate everything. So I practice, and Sean, my husband, practices something called the ideal week. And basically what that means is you set up every single day in different chunks of the day, and it's like on a perfect in a perfect world, during a perfect week, this is what your schedule would look like. You know, you wake up at this time and you go for a walk or you meditate or you work out, and then from this time to this time you work, et cetera, et cetera. On these nights, you have social outings. On these nights, you have a date night. So it's really kind of tailored to your lifestyle. So today, after I'm done with this video, actually, Sean and I are going to go through our ideal weeks and we're going to get a piece of paper out Monday through Sunday. And we're going to basically schedule out what we want our lives to look like now that we are doing it from home, at least for the next 2 weeks. And who knows what's going to happen after that. So it's actually kind of fun because we can start getting creative with it. So we've been going to bed really late and waking up later than normal the last week just because we've been so thrown off. And as I've come out of this fog, I've realized, okay, I'm going to start going to bed at my normal time, which for us is about 10 p.m., and waking up at about 7 a.m. So it's going to look a little bit different than normal. We're not going to go out to go work out. We're not going to go hang out with friends, but we're going to create just a normal schedule here. And I've seen a lot of these things going around for kids, like a schedule to give them every day of things to do that, especially for these parents who are basically having to occupy and or homeschool their children during this process, which if you're watching this, you may be one of those people. But do this for yourself too. You're just as important as your kids, and your need for routine and certainty is just as strong as theirs. So I highly encourage you to create a schedule for yourself, kind of an ideal week for how it's going to go. And Yeah, I think it's gonna be, make a really big difference, and you can kind of like, treat it as you're enacting the crisis mode of, your schedule, and you can put the normal one back in as soon as things calm down, whether that's in 2 weeks or 2 months, who knows? The second human need is uncertainty and variety. Now, we're getting a lot of uncertainty with the media. So, I want to talk about how we can get that positive uncertainty or positive variety, because we're already getting a kind of negative uncertainty every day. But we need this good uncertainty in our lives. And especially if we're at home all day long, the boredom starts kicking in. My neighbor came over yesterday to knock on my door to bring me some cookies. She was so sweet. And I asked her how she was doing, and she was just saying she's a teacher, so she's out of work right now. And she's just saying, I'm starting to get really bored. She's a single woman, and she can't really do anything for her students. They won't let her send over any lessons or anything like that. They're just really on halt right now. And so she was just talking about how bored she was getting. And I do think that that can kind of be dangerous after a while. You start getting really, really bored, lonely, and isolated. So, how do you get this need for variety met? I think having activities to do is so important. So, Sean and I brought home last week when we went to a pottery class. We do pottery a couple times a week. We brought home like 50 pounds of clay and all of our tools. And we don't have a pottery wheel here, but we have a big kitchen island. And so I think 4 out of the past 5 evenings we have, and all weekend, we just spent time sculpting. And I've been making like these soap dishes for my family and things like that, which is kind of cool. And it's really fun, actually. So that's kind of feeding that need for variety. We've been going on walks every day when the weather's been nice. I have a musical instrument that I've been playing. He's been also doing that as well. We've, I think, watched a movie almost every day. So it's just kind of keeping those things. I think, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm like getting excited because I have all these ideas. But I think if you are just watching Netflix all day long and are on your computer reading the latest headlines and the social media posts, you are going to get in not the best headspace for yourself. And you're getting too much of that, number one, boredom, and number two, bad uncertainty. So ask yourself what type of good uncertainty and variety you can add into your life. Pick up a hobby. I mean, literally, there's these little kits my sister was showing me on Etsy that there are these really cool embroidery kits, and they're really, I don't know, they're very, very cool. Pieces of art that you can embroider. So, or go on Etsy and like see what crafts there are that you can order. Amazon is still running full stop right now, and so you can go on there and see if there's something that you can pick up. Maybe it's a musical instrument. I don't know what it is for you, but something that gets you excited to learn something new. All right, let's see if there's any comments. I think intimacy with your partner is very important for comfort. That is nature's natural stress reliever if done with someone you truly love and they love you back just as much. Very comforting. So true. I mean, absolutely. I think that I'm very, very grateful that I have Sean here with me. We also have a lot of single friends who are home alone right now and are really struggling. So that actually brings me perfectly to the next human need, which is connection and love. So, if you live with somebody, obviously, if your family is home, you have built in connection and love with you. I would highly, highly, highly recommend reaching out to anyone you know, especially if they're single or they live somewhere by themselves, or if they're maybe an elderly person. Reach out to them and do FaceTime, because I think it's a really fun way to connect with people. My family has been doing a nightly FaceTiming session with each other. Actually, I think we've been doing a Zoom session every night at like 7:15. We get together, whoever can get on, and just share what's been going on in our lives. It's actually made us feel almost more connected than we were before. It's very, very cool. And some of my girlfriends and I have been FaceTiming each other every day, and it's just we sharing memes together. It's hilarious. That's another great way to kind of keep the positivity. Is there are so many hilarious memes right now going on for like videos on Instagram. I don't have Instagram, but my sister keeps sending them to me about people who are in quarantine, and they are hysterical. And so I highly recommend that you look up some of those and send them to people you love. and just stay as connected as possible. This is a really nice way. That's really why I wanted to do this. And I'm calling this Together at Home because I'm like, okay, cool, live video. We can actually interact with each other. Plant food. I don't know what that means. Noel, you can explain what that means. I don't know what plant food means in relation to this. Um, Anyway, so FaceTime is huge. I've been FaceTiming my grandparents every day because they are not every day. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I've been talking to them every day and FaceTiming them here and there because, they're just kind of alone and they're bored and they definitely need that social interaction. So do your best to use the tools that we have in this century to actually connect with people and use them for good. Plant veggies in a garden hobby. Oh, yeah. You know what, you guys? I have an awesome garden going right now. I have all my little seedlings in my office under lights, and I planted a bunch of stuff out in my garden. So I've been doing that too. Noel, is that your name? Noel Medina. I am obsessed with gardening. I love it so much. I got a lot of little guys coming up out there. My radishes just popped up the other day, and it's super exciting. So that's definitely a great way to add variety in for sure. Okay. The fourth human need is significance. So, how do we actually add significance or feel significant in our life when we're not, out there interacting with people, especially if our work has been compromised? I know for me that I kind of have two jobs, and one of my jobs I can't do for the next 2 weeks because it involves being with other people. I'm still doing health coaching and hypnotherapy as well, but the other part of my job I can't do. And also, I know people who have had clients cancel on them. I know people who are on paid or unpaid leave from their job because they're in the hospitality industry. I know people personally who have been laid off, sadly, this past week. And so there's a real kind of disconnect between that significance thing that we need because I think our jobs usually give us that our need to feel like we're contributing, like we're adding value, like we're doing something important. So I would actually love to hear you guys how you are getting your need for significance met. My thought in this was, well, for one, for me, I'm just going to use myself as an example because I'm not exactly sure what your situation is. That's why I would love for you to share. But doing these live videos was one of my things that I was going to do to help with feeling significant. Like I'm doing something to contribute to the overall well being of people while all of this is going on. And so I just thought, like, how can I add value? How can I help encourage people during this time? Um, there's another need for contribution. And I think the need for significance and contribution kind of sometimes go hand in hand because usually usually if you contribute in some way, it makes you feel significant. And if you're feeling significant, it's probably because you're contributing in some way. So those are two separate needs, but that could, in regards to contribution as the sixth human need, you could help the elderly, like see if there's people, get on a Facebook group for your neighborhood and see if you can do porch drop offs for the elderly, going to the grocery store for them and just dropping off food or making, some type of snack cookies or something and dropping them off on your neighbor's porches. So you don't even have to really come in contact with them, but you're just, walking from here to there. Um, Putting encouraging posts online to combat a lot of the negativity that's out there and the fear that's out there. So anytime you find something that, really touches you or makes you laugh, share that. People need more of that right now. We've already got enough uncertainty and fear happening. So do your part to contribute to the positive side of things. The last human need is for growth. So this could not actually be a more perfect opportunity to learn to grow, not only emotionally in this experience, which I'm actually going to talk about in a second, just how to manage your emotions and your mental state during this time, but also to learn something new, to read a book about how to do something. You can grow your mind in that way. You can, like I said, pick up a new hobby. That's a perfect way to grow and just be a learner in this process and be active in doing something. Don't just sit on your couch and do nothing for the next 2 weeks or however long. Actually choose to learn something new, to grow in some type of way. And I think it's really cool. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what everybody's doing and what kind of comes out of this, what new passions are discovered. I know for me, I was not really into doing sculpting at all before this. We were always on the pottery wheel, and just being for the last 4 or 5 days doing sculpture every day. I'm loving it. It's so fun. And I'm actually getting decently good at it just in a short amount of time. And I can't wait to make more and more things. All right, Matthew says these videos absolutely contribute. You're helping to keep this single dad from panicking. I've been a bit overwhelmed with my 10-year-old daughter at home. I love the clay idea so much. Oh, thank you, Matthew. I'm really happy that this is helpful to you. It's absolutely why I'm doing this. I would highly suggest maybe thinking of something that you and your daughter could do together, something that you could learn together. So maybe that's clay, doing some type of clay building, or going through some course online to learn an instrument together. I don't know what that is, but I think that could contribute to the connection part of it and really make this time intentional for the two of you. And then obviously having things that you're doing separately to get your good alone time in as well. But I think you can mitigate the panic simply by reclaiming control over yourself and realizing that even though you don't have control over what's going on outside of your home, you have absolute control of your surroundings, your mental state. And there's a lot of things that you can do to, I don't know, just to make the most of it. It's kind of like we're in the situation. There's literally nothing that we can do to change the situation that's currently happening outside of ourselves. The only thing we do have control over is ourselves. And so, why not make the absolute best of it and have a freaking blast with being stuck at home? I mean, really, like, how could you make it the best possible few weeks of your life? So, where you look back on this time and you say, man, what a crazy time, but we had so much fun together. We learned so much, we grew, we became more connected. I mean, I just think that there's so much that we can do if we choose to have a different attitude about this. All right, Nadia, my partner and I are going to try for a baby. We were going to wait, but the situation has made us realize how precious life is and we want to get started bringing new life. Oh, that makes me so happy. That's so sweet. I saw a meme yesterday that said, during this time, please use protection. We can't afford to go to 27 baby showers in December, which I thought was hilarious. But I imagine a lot of people are going to be doing the same thing, which, yeah, that's great. I mean, the way that you're seeing that life is so precious and that's something that you've been wanting to do for a while, that's just amazing. I hope that you have just so much success, and that in, this time next year you have a little baby. Have a freaking blast. I love that. Yes. Nadia, also my partner and I have been researching our roots and ancestors. I think the modern world tries to remove us from our identity and history, so we're making connections with our ancestors. Oh, that's very cool. I've done a little bit of research into that. But yeah, that's really interesting. I have some family members who are really into genealogy, and I've learned some things about some of my ancestors, specifically Native Americans, which, whew, some crazy, crazy stuff, but it's very, very cool to be connected to that. I think it does give us a sense of purpose. Okay, so those are the basic or the six basic human needs. Now I just want to go over how to control your mental state in this time. Like I said, I did a video a couple of days ago. If you feel like you're majorly struggling with your emotional state, please reach out to me at madeline@madelinelemon.com. We can set up a time to do a hypnotherapy session and really, really change your mindset in regards to how you approach this current situation so that you can be in a place of excitement and peace and calm and love rather than fear and panic and anxiety. So, like I said, please reach out to me if that's something that you feel would be helpful to you. But there's a couple things. I first just want to start out by saying that I think that there are three places that the fear is coming from for us. And it's kind of a threefold issue. The first is the actual pandemic disease fear of getting it, fear of spreading it, fear of hospitals being overloaded, that type of thing. The second is the economic impact, and I think a lot of people are fearful of that. And then the third, I think, is the social impact and how it's affecting our day to day lives and how we interact with other people. As far as the disease part of it goes, I think that is the part that's the least out of our control at the moment, except for staying home and washing our hands and all that stuff, which I hope that you are. I also want to say, let me just pull up my phone really quick because as of today, as of right now, in the United States, I don't know where you are in the world, but I'm just going to say for the United States, there are currently 11,348 cases of the coronavirus. That's a big number that's climbing every day, and it sounds horrible, right? But let me just tell you that 11,000 out of 11,073 cases, this part of it is a little outdated. 11,009 of those are mild. That's over 99% of people are experiencing a mild version of this. Only 64 of those cases, or less than 1%, are serious or critical. And I'm not trying to minimize the fact that the people that are experiencing this in a serious or critical way is absolutely horrible. And we absolutely need to be doing our part to help protect those that are most vulnerable. But I just want to encourage you that 99% of the people that are going through this right now are at home, recovering at home and experiencing a more mild sickness. So to me, that was really encouraging to hear. So I think that can help kind of calm a little bit of that nervousness related to the actual illness. The second part of it is, I think, in regards to the economic part and the social part, I think the biggest thing to remember is that this is an unusual, unprecedented experience that none of us have been through before. So you cannot expect yourself to be the same as normal because things aren't normal. So yesterday, Sean had a rough day. He had some kind of emotional outbursts, not anger, but like, frustration and sadness and just a lot of emotions coming out. I've certainly experienced that a lot over the past week. And he was saying, or not him, sorry, he had had that experience. But then I also talked to my sister who was having a total, emotional breakdown yesterday. And she said, I pride myself on being someone who's not afraid. And I just hate that I feel afraid right now. I'm so frustrated that I feel this way. I just want to feel, back to normal. And I said to her, and I really think this is true, this is not normal. Give yourself some grace for feeling any fear or any anxiety that comes up during this time, and allow yourself to feel that and process it, because this is so new. We are all still learning. And so I think in the midst of learning, there has to be grace and there has to be patience, that we're not going to figure out how to do it perfectly overnight. None of us have been through this type of thing before, especially on such a global scale. And so I think that there needs to be some just empathy for yourself for going through this, and empathy for other people who are also struggling, emotionally with this. So anytime you feel feelings of anxiety or fear or uncertainty or panic or whatever, insert feeling here, allow yourself to feel it and give yourself some grace and love. And I would absolutely say 100% of the time, if you start experiencing an emotional outburst, stop what you're doing, close your eyes, go into a room by yourself if you can, and breathe. Allow the feeling to wash over you and embrace it, like just allow it to happen. And I think you'll find that that helps to dissipate the feeling. As soon as we put up a wall, what you resist persists. And so I think by trying to feel like, oh my gosh, I just need to have it together, I need to be perfect all the time, I need to not have any negative thoughts, got to keep that out of my mind. It's just going to keep boiling and boiling under the surface until it all kind of overflows. So just allow yourself to feel it. I think also be vigilant in your mindfulness practices in meditation. This would be the perfect time to teach your children how to meditate. You can use the One Giant Mind app. It's really great. And I'm sure there are other apps. Probably the Insight Timer probably has kids meditations. I would not be surprised if they did. They have so many hundreds, if not thousands, of meditations on there. Yeah, teach your kids a little bit about mindfulness. Teach them maybe some yoga or some deep stretching, having quiet time away from the computer for both of you, your children, and yourself, to really check in with your own intuition, your own feelings, and not feel like you're just constantly having noise all the time. So I've been doing meditation every morning, and it's been honestly a lifesaver for me. I feel so much more at peace when I start my day out that way. The other thing that's really cool to do, especially if you have somebody else, well, this has to be really if you have somebody else in your household, unless I guess you could FaceTime a friend and do this. Sean and I do at the end of the night, usually when we're in bed and we're about ready to go to sleep, we do something called you could call it Fanog. It's Fanog, and all of those 5 letters stand for something. Um, so the F, basically, we take turns and we go through the whole thing, each of us. The F stands for feeling. So you explain what you're feeling, about the whole day, about where you're at currently. The A is affirmation. So it's giving an affirmation to the other person for something that you noticed about them today, something that you're proud of them for, and just acknowledging them. The N is a need. So something that you feel like you need. And the O is ownership, taking ownership for something in the day. That could be taking ownership for something, that you're not proud of, or taking ownership for something that you are proud of. And then the G is gratitude. And that is for Sean and I is listing 3 things that we're grateful for. And it sounds cheesy, but honestly, it's so good. So it can go something like this. I'll just give you an example and I'll do it quickly, but it takes longer when we're doing it. Right now, I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling like I'm contributing, and so that makes me happy. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed about trying to organize my life and figure out what I need to do, but I feel like I will get a good handle on it as long as I, sit down to do it. So that's feeling. Affirmation. Let me just affirm you. I am really proud of you guys for, if you're on here, you're somebody who is conscious of the importance of taking care of your emotional state. And so I'm really, really proud of you for coming on here and for being willing to grow and use this time to become a better person and to learn more about yourself and how to take care of our world. I need to redo my ideal week, and I really need to make sure that I'm eating my probiotic foods that I've been putting off for a few days. Ownership. I take ownership for not meditating right away this morning and instead looking at my phone kind of first thing after I got into bed or out of bed. And gratitude, I mean, I just feel really grateful for technology right now and the ability to connect with you and to, have this virtual family. So that's kind of an example of how you would do it. And then the other person would go and, you can spend as short as that or you can take a long time to do this. Okay, I'm skeptical of the pharmaceutical industry. For example, they've known the damage opioids have been doing to communities. Now, the same industry is going to save us with a shot. What should we do? I cannot answer that question for you. I think that the most important thing that you can do is to get in touch with your own intuition and make decisions that feel deeply congruent to you based on all the information that we're getting, based on everything that you're feeling inside. I do think meditation really helps with this because it can help you get kind of in tune with how you are feeling. And luckily, at this very moment in time, there's really not anything that we need to do in regard if you're referring to like a vaccination or something that's going to be a long time before that comes about. So you got a lot of time to think about it, and there's going to be a lot more information that comes out. I think they said it would probably be at least a year until a vaccination happens. So because it has to go through trials, they've injected it into the first people, but they have to monitor those people for at least a year to make sure there are no adverse reactions. So there's, at least as far as I'm aware, and I just watched the press conference that was with Trump. That was like an hour ago. It seems like they're not really close on that. They're expediting the process as much as they can, but there's certain parts of it that they cannot expedite. So yeah, my suggestion would just be to take it as it comes, to really do some soul searching and digging on that and decide what's important to you and make your decisions based on that. We can only, do what feels good to us. Okay, the last thing I would just want to talk about really quick is I kind of touched on it earlier, but media consumption, social media, actual media like news sites, videos, etc. Please, I beg of you, if you do anything from this, it is to limit your consumption and limit yourself from engaging in upsetting conversations about it and really protect your mental health, because anxiety is contagious just as much as love and gratitude are contagious. And I just, I don't want to be a victim of someone else's thoughts and opinions about something based on fear. I think when we do anything out of fear, um, it's a negative. I think that we need to keep our heads level and we need to keep our hearts open. And the only way to do that is to, put some boundaries on ourselves for how much we're consuming. So, my family, for example, was sending so many texts every single day about updates of what's happening. And finally yesterday, I set up a Slack. You guys know what Slack is? It's an app where you have like a workspace that you can communicate with people instead of using text or email. And so I set up a Slack page or workplace for my family so that we could share updates about the coronavirus there instead of through text messages, because when the texts come in, it's like a roller coaster. It's just constant, up and down. Whereas Slack, I can choose to go on there at certain times of the day, so I'm not getting bombarded all of the time. So like I can get on first thing in the morning, and then I can, maybe check at lunch and then check at dinner or whatever, and not feel like I'm just constantly getting those alerts on my phone. The other thing to do is to set times that you're going to get online. I think it's helpful if you have other things that you're doing and you create that ideal week and ideal day, you'll be far less likely just to waste time online and get sucked into the stuff. And it really is addictive. I mean, I feel like I've experienced it so much where like I start reading, I go to some news websites. I'm like, okay, I need to find out what the latest is, what's been said. And I just keep scrolling and I just can't stop. And I'm like, okay, I know I need to get off. I know this isn't good. And yet I keep doing it. It's very difficult to have self-control over that if you just let yourself kind of have a free for all. So set a timer, even if you want, set a timer for 15 minutes. And then as soon as that timer goes off, you're done. And just don't get carried away in all of this stuff. Control some of your autonomy, some of your personal power. I shared this in my last video, but our personal power lies in our ability to take action. I think that's Tony Robbins who said that. So ask yourself the question, how can I serve? How can I spread more positivity? How can I be love and light to the people around me? Same here. I think I keep surfing to see some good news. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to do. I mean, I think it's set up that way. It's set up to suck us in, and we have to be stronger than that. But yeah, I love the phrase, the affirmation, I know who I am, I know what I am, I know how I serve. And if you repeat that to yourself on a daily basis, I think it can just keep you grounded, like I know who I am. I'm not anything that these people are saying I am. I'm not even affected by by all this noise out there. I'm centered in myself. I'm grounded to to my higher power, to the earth, whatever it is that can help you feel grounded in this time. And also, for variety, like contribution is one of those catch-alls, and it actually has the ability to feed so many of our basic human needs. So I highly encourage yourself to ask yourself that question, even if it's just, how can I contribute to my family today, to my grandparents, to, the other people around me, my neighbors. All right, guys, I am going to sign off here. I don't know how often I'm going to be doing these. I don't know if it'll be every day or every other day, but I'll send an email out. So if you're not on my email list, make sure to go to MadelineLemon.com and click on free meditation up in the top right corner. And you can sign up for my email list and you'll get notified when I'm going to do some of these live videos. I plan on definitely doing quite a few of them, as I have thoughts and feelings that I want to share with you guys to help encourage you in this crazy, weird time that we're in. I hope you guys are doing well, and I'm wishing you all of the health. Please, 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 please stay inside. Let's slow this thing down and let's do our best. And as I said earlier, let's have a freaking blast while we're at it. All right, I will see you guys next time. Bye.